with the top of our head and work our way right down to our feet. Just as a thought, when you do your long runs, and that should be a part of your weekly running schedule, you should take little blocks of maybe 10 minutes, and from maybe 9 to 10, think about resetting your form. Think about one thing, and you can start with your head and work your way down if you're doing a long run, an hour or longer. Okay, so starting with our head today, if you can imagine a string attached to the top of your head, you want to get that nice running tall, as we say, and that's one of your cues when we are in our good form. So you don't want that head, which can weigh about 8 to 10 pounds depending on your size, you don't want it to be hanging forward. That puts a lot of extra weight and pressure on the rest of the body to carry that head. So try to keep it tall, head up, eyes up. And one of the little tricks I've done in the past with our group outside is, if they're wearing a little cap, a little more challenging in the wind, is to find a cap maybe not as comfortable as this one, and just practice walking without spilling that hat. All right, very simple. So we get to our shoulders. Shoulders, and the cue here, shoulders should stay low and loose. So you don't want that tendency of the shoulders to start to ride up. I know for myself, I have one that likes to kind of creep a little bit of tension into the upper part of my shoulder, and I have to remind myself to bring it down, to relax. So thinking about that, we're going to start with first arm warm up, and we're going to do 3 circles, so we're going from small to big. So just gradually get those larger and larger. Again, this is a nice wake up for those back muscles. And just bring it back to small again. We'll keep in the same direction. And this is our second time. Create bigger and bigger circles, waking up those muscles. And last time, nice small circles and larger. All right, so stay low and loose with our shoulders. So we come to our arms, and I did one Facebook Live about the arms and how we sometimes neglect them. When you're running and you're watching other people, you'll see a variation of arms down here, arms out this way. So ideally, we do want to keep a 90-degree angle. Dave Scott, our 7th-time World Championship winner, he recommends thinking about putting a walnut and clasping that walnut in the crease of your elbow. And Meb, our other big Boston Marathon champion, he also suggests, and sometimes you can see it when you're running, having that elbow pull back enough that you can see the triangle if you're seeing yourself as a reflection in a building you're running by. So thinking about that, main thing is your cue is to drive the elbow back. So we have done drills here where you can start with long, straight arms, start to speed up and shorten that arm. And we'll do 2 more of those. Shorten it up again. Get your elbow to drive back. And 1 more. I'm just going to turn to face you. So if we divide our body with a midline right here, again, you don't want to be punching over that line. You can go towards it, but it's also important to keep that core locked. You don't want to be twisting at this point. All right, so that actually brings us to the core. And often you hear the word to brace your core. So I will say, embrace your core. Make sure you're aware of it, and that's why we do planks, and that's what we're going to do next. So we're going to wake up our core, feel it braced. Again, you can think about your belly button, maybe going towards your spine. And we're going to go into a mountain climber first for approximately 50 seconds. We'll start slow and then speed up. So plank, mountain climber. You're going to bring up your knee and bring it to the opposite elbow. And when you're ready, your core, you want your your bum popping up. All right, great job. So that's one of our core exercises, and you should be feeling that at this point. Next one we'll do is core with a twist. So here you can get down onto your side. This time I will go onto my elbow. Arm up, you can watch your hand as you dip, and then bring it back up. We'll do 10 of these on each side. And switch sides. Good job. And so embrace the core. Something that connects our top to our bottom. All right, hips are next. So again, hips, we talk a lot about opening the hips. Simply means you want to feel this area to be like a hinge or a crank, and keep it open as much as you can as you drive the leg back. So sometimes you will see from a distance a runner who's running like this, and you can see that lean is a little too much, and they're not opening up that hip flexor. So you want to, again, have a slight lean. Another little cue is tits over hips, just ever so slightly. You don't have to be hinged. It's a lean that comes from the ankles. But for the hips, you can think of your cue, drive the hip back, drive the knee forward. So to help us with that cue, we're going to do backward lunges. So this time, we'll put our arms and hands just above our head, behind our head, as we take 10 per leg lunges backwards. All right, good. We should start to warm up. I'm quite warm in the sun. Cold outside today, but toasty warm in here. So drive the knees forward and drive the hip back. That's your cue for this area. We're going to do a couple more though that focus on the hips. And this is a bit like a squat. So again, we're going to engage those glutes. But we're going to shuffle from side to side and then bend to touch. So we're always using this kinetic chain of muscles. We're using everything all the time, but we can isolate a little bit and exaggerate some of our motions. So side to side shuffle. I don't have a lot of space here, so if you have more, take it all up. But the important thing is when you go to touch, feel again that core engaged and the obliques as you bend over to touch the ground. So side to side, touch the side that you just traveled through. Side shuffles, getting quite low to the ground. We'll do 3 more from side to side. Very cramped in here. I'm feeling it. So I hope you have more space wherever you are. And one more. into a speed skater. So put on your long blades for this one. Again, sort of like the same position we just had for our side shuffle. Get into a squat that's quite low. And like a speed skater, we're gonna go from side to side, lifting up our opposite leg to the arm that's going back. The trick here, you wanna make sure your back leg does not touch the ground. So I don't want you resting it here. I want you to bring it up and over, okay? So we're gonna do 10 per side for this one. Oh, so that's a nice one. You can definitely add more of those if you like. Okay, so that was our drive the hip back, drive the knee forward, working on this area. We're going to sort of work our way down to our legs now. So, again, when we're running, ideally, we want our feet to land right under us. Think of soft knees and think of landing softly. So soft landing, quiet landing. So you don't want to hear this as you're running. You also don't want to hear, if I was on asphalt, you don't want to hear a scraping sound. That means you're actually braking as you're running. So that's why it's important to land just slightly behind you. You think of it sometimes as when the foot comes down, think of it landing behind you rather than stepping forward. And again, that's another important reason to think about the knee driving forward rather than our leg extending and landing this way. That turns into an overstride and often a big heel landing out front like a brake and possibly increasing the risk of injury off the leg. So for this we're going to do, and this is a great image I've told a lot of runners about, and this is the scootering effect. So when I'm running and I want to do a little bit of drills in my head, I often think I'm on a kid scooter, and with that one leg on the scooter, my other leg is propelling me forward. So that's the feeling I want you to have when you do this drill. So we're going to do 20 scoots with our right leg and 20 with the other leg. All right. And if you like these, you can definitely do lots of them. Other leg. And I do encourage you to get them moving quickly. You don't want to go too slow. You want to engage those fast twitch muscles. Good time to do it. And staying down here by our feet, we're going to do some ankle push-ups. So get into a lunge with most of the weight now over that ankle, and you can brace yourself on the ground. So you're going to be lifting up, pushing up. That's your push-up, and we'll do 20 of these per leg. And switch to your other leg. All right, great job. All right, we're going to finish up with what I call a baby burpee. I will do the full burpee, and burpees have a lot of variations. You can add a lot more dynamic energy into it if you're fit and you're up to the level of doing maybe a push-up in there, a jump with a hip hike up. We're just simply going to take the movement. First I'll just show you slowly, but it's almost like going into a squat, so your legs are about shoulder width apart. Get into that squat and then drop to your hands. Go back with your toes. Try to think about that plank shape. Then you're going to come back up and no jump. There's your baby burpees, and just up. So we'll try for 10 of these. All right, great. So that's our dynamic warm-up for the morning. And the workout today, we're going to be doing some cruise intervals. So again, go out there, warm up. Zone 1, 5 minutes. Zone 2, 5 minutes. And then we're going to go into 4 repeats. Zone 3 for 5 minutes, followed by 3 minutes of zone 1. So 4 repeats of that. Cruise intervals. Zone 3, cruise really means you're lengthening out. These are not speed plays. They're not short and quick and maybe more powerful, but you want to sustain them. You want to sustain a good energy. So zone 3 is a good tempo to maintain. If you have a heart rate zone for zone 3, by all means use it. Otherwise you're going to go by feel. So you're on that edge of working hard. You are breathing a little bit more, so your sentences are more choppy if you were talking to somebody, which you won't be in at this point in time on your run unless it's a partner. So that's your workout. Finish it up with a cool down. Go back to zone 2 for 5 minutes and zone 1 for 5 minutes. All right, that's your head to toe cue, review, and drills. Have a great one, everybody. See you next week.